we go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hold on one second. Just gotta find the other link spot right here. There we go. Oops. There. And there. Well, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. And so today, Wednesday, it was definitely a choppy day today. Right. Well, I hope everybody had a great as we head into a holiday weekend. Right. It definitely felt like it today with all the inside days today. So today we're going to be talking about what these little dolls have to do with the stock market. But before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Da, 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 da. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off with the stock market today, and then we're going to go over, we'll take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening, and then we'll go take a look at the topic, and then we'll take questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX guys, green doji month here so far, but it is green, right? So we were kind of dancing in the red territory right now. Remember, guys, this is the last couple days in the month here. This week, this is the last week of the month. So why is that? But what about Monday? Monday's Memorial Day, right? And so we're heading into this vacation weekend, right? We're starting to see that type of vacation volume that we often see out there before the holidays, right? So generally just a pretty choppy end so far, but we'll see. We still have 2 trading days left, right? So weekly chart, guys, we had an inside week last week. We started to push above that inside week, but not really getting a lot of follow through. The good news is McClellan Oscillator is still over 100, which means that we're not in the crash territory, right? It's where we get to minus 100 right here. So seem to be hanging on here okay on the SPX. And on the daily chart, another inside day. We're going to talk about this today. Before we do, though, let's take a look and see what we have on the radar here in terms of Elliott wave count. So there's a couple interesting things, right? One thing is that we see right here is a harmonic, and we pointed that out in our newsletter this weekend. We pointed out on the Qs, right? So the Qs right here, I should be able to pull it up, and you guys can see, yeah. So this harmonic type move right here. And on the Nasdaq futures, right, you can also see that here too. Just the higher low right here, and then working on that final harmonic wing, right? So pretty interesting stuff there. But the big thing that we're tracking is this down move right here. So this is the kind of this turning point right here. So the real question is, right, is this little mini top in right here? So what this would be is essentially a subwave 1. Right, and so I'll just call it capital 1 like that, and then because I've got the other one right here, so we kind of have this wave 1, and the real question is, are we going to get a wave 2 pullback and then go up from there, right? And so we're kind of tracking this right now. This could be an A, this could be a B, this could be a C, but this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I said, wave 1, and then ABC wave 2 would give us the 618 retrace for a nice common wave 2 pullback, also corresponding with the gap fill, and then we can really start to go up in a wave 3 of 3, right? Because what we're looking at right here, right, is a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And then we'd be in wave 3 of 3, which is usually a pretty impulsive wave. So we're tracking that one for sure. So we'll see how it goes. But again, it's been pretty complex. We still could be in a triangle, right? So you can see how things are starting to get tight right here on the S&P futures. We could still be in a triangle, and you can see we're pretty choppy here going into today. In fact, today's choppiness really does look like a triangle, right? It's a little bit steep right now, so we'll see if it gets any more action. But the top of it's definitely looking triangular. So if you go like this here, right? You can kind of see that. This is a little bit too steep for me to be a true triangle, right? It is triangulating, but let's see what it gives us here tonight. Maybe it'll push down a little bit more and give us some more action. But in the meantime, this geometric line looks pretty interesting. We could still put this here and see if it gives us any sort of geometric breakout throughout the evening, which way it decides to go. So again, down, like I said, down 75 cents right now. It pushed up a little bit, pushed down a little bit, and really in this choppy range throughout the day today. So what does this all mean, and what does this all have to do with these cute little dolls? Right, so these little Russian dolls. Like, what are the what does the stock market have to do with these? Well, really interesting stuff. So nothing in particular, right? So there's not talking about a particular company that makes these dolls and is traded publicly or anything like that. But it's the mnemonic of these, right? It's kind of how these look that helps us look at things a little bit. So what are these? So these are like the Russian babushka dolls, right? And so what do, right? Each one of them opens up. You can see kind of these little lines in the middle of them, right? They open up and then you put them all into one. So what it does, it starts off with one big big doll, and you can take the top off right there, and then this doll is in that one, and you take this off right here, this doll is in that one, take this one over here, this doll is in that one, take this one over here, and then you got the last one, right? This one right here. And so what does this have to do with the stock market? Well, what I like to do, I like to use these to illustrate what inside candles mean, right? And what inside days mean, right? So basically what it's saying is that the candle, right, we're going to say this person is this doll right here is a candle. It fits fully inside of this candle, right? Which makes it an inside candle, right? And it's adjacent to it, right? This candle would be an inside candle because it fits fully inside of this candle. This candle right here is an inside because it fits fully inside this. This is an inside candle that fits fully inside this candle. But this one right here is the narrowest range candle in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So what would that be? That would be an NR4 inside day. The narrowest range candle inside day, right, in 4 days. So they don't have to all be inside for it to be an NR4 or an NR7. These are kind of the big moves. And this is what we look at. So that's really what I want to talk about today is today's action formed an NR7 inside day on a lot of different names, but particularly on the SPX, right? So you can see here, I'm going to illustrate this here. And what I do is the inside candles, I color those yellow here in Thinkorswim. And if anybody would like that code for that, just let me know and I'd be happy to give it to you. But what we do is, why do we look for these? Right? So we have an NR7 inside this. So take a look at it. We got a yellow candle right here, so we're an inside candle right here, right? 18.5 points today was the only range today. Yesterday was 30 points, so we're fully included in that candle right there, just like those Russian dolls, right? And you can see right here, we've got this candle right here, 29 points contained by this one right here. So, and again, this was not a NR7 day, right? But it was, I believe, this one here was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It actually was. This was an NR7 inside candle, right? This was an NR7 inside candle. This was an NR7 inside candle. So these were the narrowest range candles within 7 days, right? And so if I kind of emphasize these and show you what happened afterward, right, you start to look at it and be like, oh, wait a second, I guess that is interesting, right? So, and it is, right? Because what it means is it's basically part of the whole contraction to expansion theory, right? And that stocks, because the stock market likes to move or at least be moved, that if it's not moving, which is technically what these inside candles mean, right? Because if there's movement, price breaks over the high or the low of the prior candle, right? And so if you have an inside candle, it's meaning that price is not moving, right? There's indecision, right? We don't know which way price wants to go, but when you get a really tight compressed inside range like this, a lot of times that contraction can lead to expansion, right? You can see that right here. We held right at the ADMA and we got a nice push to the upside. Then we held another one right here and we pushed nicely to the upside. We got really tight right here. Now this wasn't a super tight range. It was still almost a 30-point range, but it was the narrowest range day, right? This is 29 points. This was 36 points here. This was 55. It was the narrowest range day in 7 days, and it was also an inside candle. So these are NR7 inside candles. And look what happened after this. So we had one, boom, right down to the 50-day moving average, right? So that really got us going right here. And now today we formed an NR7 inside candle again, and we're just over the 50-day moving average. So it's getting pretty interesting. Now, do I think that we're going to get an explosive move out of this? Not necessarily, unless we get some news or something like that, right? I'm not really positioning right now to look for an explosive move. And why is that? Well, because we have a holiday on Monday, right? So we got 2 trading days left before a holiday. A lot of traders like to go on vacation for Memorial Day, and if you guys are on vacation too, I hope you guys enjoy it. Right? That's kind of that's the idea. So I'm not expecting too much unless some news comes out, right, in the next couple days. What kind of news could come out? Who knows? I mean, anything, right? Russian news. Speaking of Russian dolls, Russian news, Iran news, China news, anything, right? So now, if there is, that's in the next couple days, we got to be careful, right? Because usually, if there's big news on a day that does not have a lot of traders that are at their desks, look out, because we could get really big moves because they're not there to defend their positions, or they won't maybe take off their stops or whatever the case. All the stops start to get, we just start to get through this. We've seen that before, and sometimes every little news thing can move things too on really slow days too. So that's also something to keep an eye out for too. But anyway, these narrow range inside candles are what those Russian dolls have to do with the stock market. So really cool stuff. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. Looks like a lot of folks are on vacation here tonight. In fact, I didn't even get an email from Shirley, and she normally sends an email pretty early before the show. But good stuff. Looks like we don't have too much to go through. But bullish and bearish trades. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So let's take a look. See what you got there. So you got Boeing on the radar. So let's take a look. So guys, this is kind of the thing we've seen a lot of NR7 inside candles right here, right? So almost all the names we like to look at got really tight ranges here today. So that's where we're at, right? We gave a big push up right here. Now we just want to see if this contraction turns to any sort of expansion to the upside, or if we start to push our way down and maybe fill the gap down here and get to the 80 MA. So we're tracking that on Boeing. As for the XLE, it was looking kind of interesting yesterday. We had I thought it was a pretty bearish candle. Was thinking we might get a little bit of follow through on a couple of these bearish names yesterday, but we really didn't. Just a little bit at the beginning of the day today, and but it did stay below the 80 MA. So let's see how that holds right there. We had decreasing volume here on the green candle. So let's see where we go from there. And then we've got Mara. So let's take a look. So Mara, guys, inside day up. While we're at it, let's just take a quick look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still struggling here below the 80 MA, right? We ended up finishing the day with an upper shadow here on the Bitcoin futures, and we're up a little bit right now. We're up about 765 points, but we really need to see how it handles this 80 MA and these lines, right? We talked about that the other night. But anyway, cool stuff there. We'll see how Mara goes. Riot, actually, just while we're at it, Riot also is an inside day up right here, but they also finished an acquisition of of Whinstone US, creating the leading North American Bitcoin mining company. So that's very interesting. Something to keep an eye on right there. Not really getting too much follow through on that, but interesting news. So, but again, Bitcoin really needs to kind of skyrocket for these names to get going again, in my opinion. So, but good stuff there. Bullish bearish trades. And we've also got NNTM. Let's take a look. So, let's take a look. We've got a doji breakout on this one and a nice push here over the 2-day moving average. Watch your upper shadow off the 50-day, right? So a little bit of caution on that. Good stuff. And then TYSM, let's say like TYSM. You're like, hey, if I'm on here, may as well put a few out there. So let's see TYSM. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, sorry, I thought we were doing more chart. Yeah, my pleasure. I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. You guys are the best too. John, what's going on? Let's take a look at EXPE. Let's see how that's looking right here. So travel names looking pretty interesting. We're up about 1% right here. This has been a super duper choppy range. We drew this geometric line not too long ago, and we got a little green breakout candle right here, lower volume, right? Doesn't really get us too interested. We had another green breakout candle here, lower volume, doesn't get us too interested. So now we're just going to stretch this out and see where we're at, right? So basically at this point now, we're kind of channeling, right, type look to it, but keep an eye on this line right here. See if we can break out of there with the green candle with some increasing volume. That's kind of the big things we're looking at. And Otas, what's going on? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well too. Thanks for tuning in. And Yasi, what's happening? Good to see you. Thanks for making it. Let's take a look at silver. So guys, this silver is such a grinder, isn't it? So this one likes to just get tight to the 80 MA and then go. Tight to the 80 MA and then go. Tight to the 80 MA and then we need a little bit of follow through on this one. We got an inside day on this one too. Let's see if we can get going. Right, we also got tight here, right, and started to get going. But then we were below the 80 MA. It gets tight to it and down. Tight and then down. So let's see. I don't know how many in a row it can support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little pullbacks to the 80 MA, and then maybe that's it. We'll see. But real rough day today. I was expecting a little more action out of it, especially. But these precious metals can be really tricky. But hanging in here around 25.50, so it's kind of holding up. So good stuff there. And OTAS. So what else you got? You got Roku on the radar. Let's take a look. So Roku also with an NR7 inside day today as well, right? Let's go to this chart a little bit cleaner here. But one of the things we're kind of looking at here on Roku is still the potential for a zigzag down. The overlap here of the wave 4 over the wave 1 would imply that this could be an ending diagonal, and the wave might be done, right? This could have been, for instance, a 1, 2, just kind of a little mini 3, 4, 5 right here, or 4, 5 with a truncated wave 5. This ended up intersecting here, but could have been an ending diagonal here too. So, and we could be starting to work on an impulsive wave up, but I just be careful right here, right? Watch this inside day, see what it does. We might pull back a little bit, and then watch your 618 off of this move, and see if it's if we get a bounce off of that or not. So that'll be definitely one to keep an eye on too. And of course we got Morgan Stanley, right? So a big upper shadow yesterday, kind of nice. A lot of the banks were looking pretty weak yesterday. A lot of outside days, a lot of big upper shadows, and we got a little bit of fall through the day, but then they ended up buying the dip on it, which probably helped hold the market up a little bit here today too. But pretty interesting stuff. So we'll see how that goes. Fubo, also, by the way, just a quick note there, the CEO of Morgan Stanley mentioned the other day that he thinks that that the Fed is going to raise interest rates by 2022 or something. Anyway, so an interesting side note on that. But anyway, Fubo, yeah, this is looking pretty interesting, right? So Fubo TV, good candle today. I think this almost made the action name list yesterday because how tight it got after its move, and then that contraction. expansion, right? So a big move there on this one here today, and pretty strong candle. It looks like a good breakout candle right here. I would just give it a little, see what kind of action we get. Maybe get a couple pause days, and if we can get going there. But a nice breakout there on Fubo, and then the IWM ended up holding up pretty well today. Right, so holding up pretty well. Green day today up 4 points, up 1.87% inside day, but it looks like it takes out those levels. It might want to try for a little pop there, so something to keep an eye on there too. And then GDX, yeah, these tricky miners and metal names, not to be, but there you go, yeah. I think everybody's getting ready for vacation and all that stuff, and yeah, this name GDX guys is getting so tight up here, right? So we just want to keep an eye on this one, see if we can break out of these geometric levels and where we go from there. So looking like a little bit of a bull pennant, but good stuff there. And then why did nobody ask about Tesla? So Tesla, I know exactly. So Tesla, guys, really interesting stuff. And I do want to mention one before we wrap up tonight. I do want to go over the meme stocks too. I was thinking about making that a profile tonight, but Tesla looking kind of interesting, right? Had a really strong day today. Our members pointed this out in the group today, and that's what's the great part about having a group. Sometimes, if we don't see something, somebody else sees it. It's like, oh yeah, that is a good setup, right? So Tesla is a pretty wild one. Nice push right here, good volume to get into our signal zone. This one closed above it, and again, I got a nice follow through to the upside right here. A little bit of upper shadows made it tough, but it hung in there. Nasty lower shadow here on this one. Probably maybe a dark pool fill or something like that. I doubt it was a stop grabber, but it was legit. I mean, it showed up, right? So we'll see how it goes. We'd have to look at maybe the options and see if they moved with it. Let's take a real quick look at the options. So Tesla, 21.05, 28 calls, and let's look at the 610 calls here, and just see what the calls look like there today. Yeah, I don't see any like huge pullback. Here's the big volume on this one too. I mean, I don't really see a big pullback on that. So it looks like it was just maybe like a dark pool print or something like that, something weird. But anyway, very interesting on that. And then a strong day today, right? So one of the big things that we want to look at here is if it's going to get any follow through. And if it does, right, it's got room to go if it wants to still be a valid wave 4. But don't forget, guys, we're still a little bit bearish on this name. Don't forget, we have the zigzag move, right? This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to fill the gap and get to triangle support. So it was a good move today. It was a decent volume compared to yesterday, but not amazing, right? So let's just keep an eye on it and see how it goes. It's got room for this wave 4 can go all the way up there and still be a valid wave 4 wave, right? So let's just kind of keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Because I love it, good stuff. And 2020, let's say GMBL and see how that's doing. So GMBL, huge candle today. Not a lot of volume, right? But a beautiful, beautiful candle. I mean, hey, it is what it is. Not a lot of traders on it, but anybody who caught these, a couple nice triangle breakouts here intraday, right? Got real tight here, right? Breakout, increase volume, and then just gonna drifted its way up there. So a nice day today for this one. Watch out for your 50-day moving average on the GMPL, and then Slugger. So yeah, it's still grinding its way up here. Hey, up 2% here today. Nice for a penny name. You can't complain. So good stuff there. And Michael Phillips, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for reminding me about the meme names and also BB too. But yeah, let's take a look at AMC. How about this one, guys? One of the things I wanted to do as a poll tonight is how many people think that AMC is going to gap up and continue to go tomorrow. And my thought is I won't give the solution away on that one because I don't know, right? Nobody really knows, but it does have room to go on the harmonic, right? And this volume is really impressive on a gap up. So this could end up actually being a pause day. And in fact, I'm probably going to do a poll tonight and just ask. And GameStop too. I mean, look at this, 2 pause days up here, and let's see what they do. It could be pretty impressive. So good stuff there. And then BB's another one too, 2020. I know you guys mentioned it yesterday. You guys said, hey, BB is kind of like a little, not playing along with the other meme names. And for some reason, I'm not able to pull up my. It's like freezing right here. I don't know. For some reason, it just kind of. Oh, performance issue. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah, BB. All right, so there we go. So let's see. So this here. But BB, yeah, it was it just kind of didn't play along with the other names today, but they decided the algos jumped in it today, and so did retail traders. So good move on BB too. Let's see if that one can get some follow through as well. Nice cheap name too. I love it. And John, yeah, let's take a look at Nvidia earnings tonight. So it could be interesting. Right now, it looks like we're going to open about flat. We had a really sideways action today. It looks like they're just going to crush premium both ways here today. Now they crushed it on earnings, right? They beat earnings by like $1 billion. Beat on revenue, right? And they had good outlook too, right? They said that their whole ARM acquisition or whatever is looks like it's going to take place according to plan by 2022 or whatever the case is. So I mean, everything about the report seemed bullish, right? And they're just chopping around. But Nvidia loves to do this after earnings. It's rare that you see Nvidia get a big gap on it. So it used to be great, classic for trading iron condors through earnings, which I don't recommend. Or suggest, right? But but it used to be great from Thursday to Friday, but it does tend to do this a lot. So I thought maybe they switched the earnings days out to Wednesdays on this one so that people didn't do that as much, but it seems to just still be kind of just as choppy. But could be interesting. We'll keep an eye on the levels and see where we're at tomorrow morning. And then Michael, yeah, Zoom. Sorry, ZS. Sorry about that. Yeah, ZS. I know, what a day today on ZS. Right. So let's see if this will pull up here for us. Oh yeah, no, it is. So good stuff here. Yeah, great levels, guys. This was the gap level right here. We wanted to make sure it could get above these levels right here and then push. But look where it rejected right off of that 200 level, right where we drew this line here this morning. This is right in the bubble report. We're like, this is probably not much of a contender for a gap and go because it's not gapping above these pivot levels, right? When you gap above these levels, right, anybody who has got stops up here ends up covering, right? And it ends up giving it that gap and go move. And today we gapped up nicely. But look, anybody who's short right here had a chance to defend, right? And so that's basically what we saw here today. So they pushed up right here, some good movement, and then just ended up drifting down today. So really, really good stuff there too. So great find, Michael. Yeah, good to see you. Long time to see you. I haven't seen you in a little bit. So glad you made it. But let's take a look at CRM here for Rita. Let's take a look. So CRM, yeah. So we got earnings coming up on CRM pretty soon. So we've got it tomorrow after hours, right? So this is going to be a very, very interesting one to see. We ended up getting past the 618, but we're right to the top of this channel, guys. This is very, very exciting here for CRM to see how it behaves after earnings at the top of this channel. So great one to look at right here, and we'll see how it does. Again, earnings are a binary event, so it's really tough to predict going into earnings. But if we do miss it, right? If they miss on earnings and they're like, the work acquisition's going blah, and they've got a bad conference call, look out. Right, this thing could work its way down, possibly down to 213, possibly down to 208, and if it has a really big gap down, which it has had in the past, right, after its last, right, this earnings right here had a big gap down. If it gaps down below here, we could start seeing a chain reaction, see it start to work to the bottom of the channel. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on too. Anyway, guys, great stuff. Awesome chart requests tonight. Questions, I really appreciate it. If anybody's new here, be sure to click subscribe on YouTube and also hit the notification button. And we really appreciate it. And be sure to hit that like button, too. I always appreciate that, too. So really hope everybody has a great night. And we'll see you all bright and early tomorrow morning here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Prep video. We'll also see you in the Twitter. And for those of us in our group, we'll see you in the Bubble Report and in the Discord, too. Links to all of that stuff is in the description. So hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Thanks again for tuning in. Stay healthy out there, and remember,